is a function of x. So we have to rewrite it in function notation and then evaluate f of 5, negative 5. What do I mean by function notation? It has that f of x. What variable does f of x replace? Y. So make sure your equation is y equals, which the first one is. So if I said write it in function notation, I think there's one or two on the homework that ask that. All you have to do is, instead of the y, we write f of x. And then if I ask you to find f of negative 5, what does that mean? Plug in negative 5 in for both x's. So negative 5 squared is 25. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Minus 3. We get 12. I want to do B because that one's a little bit different. What did I change here? Okay. Yeah. This one is definitely not written in where we easily do function notation. We don't see 2x minus 3f of x equals 6 in the equation. We have to first solve so that it's y equals. So if we subtract our 2x, then what would you do? And you could leave this as one big fraction. You could divide each term and make it negative 2 plus 2/3 x. It does not matter. So if you wanted to leave it as a fraction over negative 3 or split it up, it's fine. But the function notation now, we can just replace our y with an f of x. Okay, you might flip it around and make it 2/3 x minus 2 if you're used to thinking about lines, slope-intercept form. Any of those options are fine. We just have to rewrite it in an equivalent form. And so then we can find our f of negative 5. What do you get? Do we need to do any more of those? So if I say put it in function notation, make sure it's y equals, then change your y to an f of x. The last piece I want to talk about today is increasing, decreasing, constant. What do I mean when I say increasing? Going up. As you go from left to right, your graph is rising. Decreasing, it is going down. And constant would be stays the same, so like a flat line. We will give this in intervals, so I'll say give the interval where it's increasing. You have to use the x values when you do that. Okay, the only time we'll use the y's for an interval is if I ask you for the range. Otherwise we use the x. Because if we use the y's, the same graph could hit the same y value multiple times, and we wouldn't necessarily know where we were talking about. But in a function, we know x doesn't repeat. So if I say at x equals 5, that is only one place on our graph. So we'll try a couple of those and then be done. If I ask you to look at this graph and tell me increasing, decreasing, and constant, you are giving me the x values. And we are going to answer with an interval. So if I start over here, where's my graph begin? -8. Okay, and what does it do first? Decreases. Technically, it doesn't matter if you use a parenthesis or a bracket on the increasing, decreasing. A lot of times, some books use the brackets for closed circles, some always do open because it's at a point you're not going up or down, you're just there. So it really doesn't matter at all. So if I start at -8, when do we stop decreasing? -5.5. Okay. And then what happens after that? It's increasing. So from -5.5. Okay. Here's my little loop stops, but does it quit going up? Nope. So it's still increasing until I get to 2. Okay, then what happens at 2? Constant from 2 until 6. My graph isn't perfect. And then what happens at 6? Decreases. So if there's more than one, we just put a union in between. So 6, and about where does this graph stop? 9.3 or so. Somewhere about there. It went a little past the 9. And like I said, if you've done parentheses and all those, that would also be correct. Doesn't matter. All right, you guys try one. Look at this and tell me increasing, decreasing, and constant. Okay, that worked. Start out doing? Good. People always look at this and tell me it's increasing because the line's going up, but we're doing from left to right. So as I go from left to right, it is falling. Where is it coming from? Naivety always gets parentheses. And where does it stop? And since it's open, I have to do a parenthesis. Okay, and then my graph picks up at 1, and it is increasing from 1 until, and then after 4, it is constant until infinity. Is that good? All right. Would you guys open up your book? You can share with somebody if you want. I just want to look at a graph and answer some questions about it. Looking at example 10. Tells us figure 30 shows the relationship between the number of gallons, G of T, of water in a small swimming pool and time T in hours. By looking at the graph, we can answer questions about the water level in the pool at various times. So if we go down to part A, what is the maximum number of gallons of water in the pool? 3,000. I'm looking at the blue line, the highest level it ever hit. 3,000 gallons. Okay. And when is that maximum level first reached? 125 hours. B. For how long is the water level increasing? So I didn't ask for the interval, I asked for how much time did it increase for? Between 0 and 25, so it increased for a total of 25 hours. Okay, how much time did it spend decreasing? So it decreased where? Between 50 and 75, so how much time was that? 25 hours. Okay, how much time did it spend constant? It was constant between 25 and 50, and then between 75 and 100. So it was constant for a total of 50 hours. Okay, C. How many gallons of water are in the pool after 90 hours? Yep, you're just reading that height of the graph. And D, can you give me a possible series of events that could account for that graph? So what happened first? We filled the pool. It started at 0 in 25 hours. It had 3,000 gallons. So that's probably not just rain. We can assume we filled the pool. And then what happened? Yeah, we turned off the water. We quit filling the pool. It just sat there. Okay, now then after that, what happened to our water level? It decreased by 1,000 gallons. So is that just my kids splashing in the pool? Probably not. Is that evaporation? Probably not. 1,000 gallons. What would cause it to drop by 1,000 gallons? Yeah, maybe we drained part of it. Maybe it had a leak and it was leaking. Okay, and then what happened? It became constant again. So we closed the drain or we repaired the leak and it leveled out. All right, I have another one. Do we need more questions about a graph or do you guys feel like you could answer those? Okay, then you have the rest of the time to work on that homework. Ask questions, check it,